Gretchen Rubin is an author known for her curiosity of human nature. She has written 5 New York Times bestselling books, all of which detail how to improve one's quality of life. In her book, Life in the Five Senses, Rubin shares how contracting pink eye allowed for her to realize that the senses are temporary and play a greater role in our lives than we acknowledge. If you lost just one of your senses today, you would mourn simple, everyday experiences. Seeing a sunset, hearing rain pour at night, smelling fresh-cut grass, tasting a warm loaf of bread, feeling the cool touch of a pillow. This realization sparked Rubin's question, was I savoring each day of my life as it was unfolding? Which becomes the very foundation for her journey to understand the senses. To answer this question, she researched the 5 senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, while planning exercises to immerse herself more deeply in the world and people around her. As I read this book, I decided to play along with the author's practices and document my findings during my trip to Philadelphia over Thanksgiving break. Here's what I learned from the book. In this section, Rubin emphasizes the power of truly seeing and appreciating details that are often overlooked. In her chapter, Looking for What's Overlooked, she describes how familiarity to certain objects can cause us to ignore them because our brain no longer deems them as important. To combat this, she decided to train herself to spot small details, things in the background that our eyes and brains sometimes spare us of. In turn, I made a conscious effort to take note of things that I had previously taken advantage of during my trip. This exercise allowed for me to truly resonate with things that I was already familiar with, in the sense that I knew these items, but wasn't appreciating all of their likeness. Objects that once seemed mundane had turned into something more interesting and became topics for connection and conversation. Rubin also explores the importance of colors. She talks about their role in how we perceive shapes, texture, motion, and depth, and also how they have the task of both informing and delighting us. Inspired by her exercise to choose a signature color, I searched for lavender, a color that feels calming and joyful to me. Here are some instances on my trip where I found lavender. Just like the author experienced, I felt a rush of satisfaction whenever I saw the shade, and was able to associate pleasant emotions with them, regardless of what the object was. More importantly, the search for these items allowed for me to feel more purposeful on my trip, and have fun with my family as they brought me colored items. We could have fun together being more mindful and finding things worth looking for. Rubin connects active listening to being present and describes how hearing can allow us to process vital information about our environment and connect deeply with others. In her chapter, Listening Better, she creates a manifesto for listening, where she details tips to become a better listener, and I wanted to display some of them that I thought were particularly important. I believe these tips overall helped me connect with my family more on my trip and understand the root of what they were saying. It allowed for me to take a step back and really process content of the conversation. Even allowing more silence and space between dialogue and conversations made them feel more genuine. Gretchen further relays the importance of appreciating lack of noise in her chapter, turning up the silence. While I couldn't replicate the 3-day silent retreat she described in her book, as it was not practical for my trip, I decided to just implement more habits to immerse myself in natural silence, such as not listening to media such as TV shows, movies, music, unless it was with another person, not using my AirPods when walking around, even if by myself. I wanted to actively listen to my surroundings. Yes, the world around us isn't completely silent, but it is definitely more soothing to listen to nature-based sounds, especially when out with other people. I gained more pleasure from silence and became more engaged and calmed down in conversations. Overall, life seemed to slow down and be more peaceful as I let my ears do the talking. Smell has always been my favorite sense, as I immerse myself in lotions, perfumes, incense, air fresheners, oils, humidifiers, the list goes on. For the video's purpose, I won't describe any scent-related exercises as I already participate in them daily, but I will describe some key takeaways I got from this chapter. The process of smelling also plays a crucial role in allowing us to experience the pleasures of food and drink. When we put something in our mouth, the combination of smell and taste gives us flavor, meaning we need it to enjoy food, especially those of complex flavors. As with all senses, familiarity with a sense may change your enjoyment of it. We ourselves become accustomed to our own familiar senses, such as a signature perfume or apartment scent. Whatever the cause, people who can't smell miss important warnings, such as the smell of meat that's gone bad, smoke, and leaking gas. Smells can alert us of changes in our environment and if danger is occurring. Overall, this chapter has deepened my appreciation of scents and how they can evoke emotions, memories, and even warnings. Ruben explains how flavor brings joy and shapes our experiences. Inspired by her suggestion to create a taste timeline, I reflected on distinct flavors that define different periods of my life. Here are some specific tastes that I experienced during my break. Reminiscing in my flavor experiences allowed for me to reminisce in the good times and remember what I truly enjoyed. This exercise not only brought back fond memories, but also reminded me of how taste connects us to specific moments and emotions. It encouraged me to implement some of these great tastes back into my life and savor every bite. Just like with the smell section, I won't dive too deep into the exercises associated with this sense, as I indulge every single day. I've always appreciated little tactile objects and exercises such as knuckle cracking, hair twisting, and using my Pop-It phone case. But I will again share some key takeaways about this sense and how important and helpful it can be. Gretchen opens up this section explaining how sense of touch is different from the other senses. Not only does skin cover our entire body, but she also states, skin holds many types of touch receptors that collect information from all over the body to send to the brain in a complex, multi-layered system of specialized detection. Because being touched by another person releases natural painkillers in the brain, touch practices like massages have long been associated with help, comfort, and pain relief. Noticing distinct textures and sensations can help small moments, such as the feel of a nice sleek shirt, feel more enjoyable. When I graduate from middle and become an engineer full-time, I will be spending 40 hours a week in the same office, in the same cubicle, with the same people, doing the same tasks non-stop. Ruben's approach to engaging the senses offers a way to combat both monotonous and bring mindfulness to my work. By intentionally noticing details such as the colors on my drainage cross-section sheets or the sounds on a job site, I can connect more deeply with my projects and operate more enjoyably. Engaging with the senses can also help me better understand my colleagues, their preferences, needs, experiences, leading to a more empathetic collaboration. Ultimately, appreciating sensory experiences brings vitality and connection to life, making each day feel more intentional and fulfilling. Does that make sense? Thank you for listening.